Okay, so I'm sorry, but I was asked to talk before I start the panel. I'm talking for a few minutes about the climate tech, and then, of course, I will be delighted to invite our guests. So, good morning. Good day, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak about climate tech and share with you some great innovations. My name is Esther Barak. I lead investments in sustainability sectors, climate, agri-tech, etc., and I manage a fund and an angel club. I invite you to join us with exciting investments in climate tech and hear more from the companies here. Today, we stand at a pivotal moment where human activities are driving the climate change. One of the groups I work with are the kibbutzim, organizations who have played an instrumental role in pioneering agriculture in Israel for over 75 years. On October 7th, horrifying atrocities unfolded as families were murdered in their beds, women were raped brutally, children and people were burned alive in their homes, others were tortured, and more than 240 people from 10-month-old up to 88 years old were brutally kidnapped. Only on that day, 1,200 soldiers and citizens were murdered. Yaron Shai, the son of Izhar and Hila Shai, and the brother of Ophir, was one of the brave soldiers that protected one of the kibbutzim, Kfar Shalem. Thanks to his braveness and early reaction, the kibbutz wasn't brutally destroyed. This led me to devote my efforts and time to Women United for Humanity, an initiative I founded to bring back from Gaza these kidnapped people that were taken. Notably, not only were women's lives affected, but also the farms, sheep, chickens, cows, agricultural lands, and the climate suffered extensive damage. These villages, the kibbutzim, and communities reliant on agriculture and farming for their livelihoods were forced to flee their burning homes, leaving behind all their assets. They found themselves transformed into refugees within their own homeland. More so, most of the men and many women were called for military service, and many businesses were left unmanaged. In the face of such devastation, our civil society rose immediately to the challenge. For example, Tzav 8 War Room exemplified this by bringing the gap between volunteers and farmers in dire need. This is just one example of how Israeli civil society exhibits not only innovation, but also compassion and mutual support during times of adversity. In times of crisis, conflict, and warfare, such as challenges posed by COVID pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and now, unfortunately, the recent war between Israel and Hamas, ensuring food security is not only a matter of sustaining daily life, but becomes a crucial element in maintaining stability, resilience, and social cohesion. While some problems can be solved with existing technologies, others will need research and development efforts. We're witnessing the warmest decade on record, with the Earth's average temperature now approximately 1.1 Celsius warmer than the pre-industrial era. Climate change extends far beyond raising temperatures affecting our entire ecosystem. The Earth is a system where everything is connected. Changes in one area can influence changes in others. The consequences of climate change now include, among others, intense water scarcity, severe fires, raising sea levels, flooding, melting ice, catastrophic storms, earthquakes, and declining biodiversity. These changes are widespread, intensifying, and led to diverse impacts on health, food production, housing, and economic stability. Addressing food security and mitigating climate change are among the most critical challenges of our time. Innovative technologies and sustainable farming practices hold the key to overcoming these challenges and creating a more resilient and sustainable future for all. Limiting global temperature rise to 1.5 Celsius is critical. Cutting emissions through a shift to renewable like solar or wind, using CO2 for positive purposes like protein, early warning systems and disasters preparing, education of the civil society, and much more. Significant financial investments are required for climate action, yet the costs of inaction are far greater. It's essential for developed nations to fulfill their financial commitment to supporting developing countries. According to the United Nations Environment Program, countries may need to spend up to $300 billion a year by 2030 and $500 billion by 2050. As investors, entrepreneurs, and leaders, it is our responsibility to nurture these ecosystems and drive meaningful change. Together, we can build a more sustainable and resilient future facing 2030. In the global effort, Israel is contributing significantly to climate tech, with strategies aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, focusing on both mitigation and adaptation of technologies. Israel boasts one of the world's leading climate tech ecosystem, home to over 800 companies, startup companies. In 2022, private market investments in Israeli climate companies amounted to $2.3 billion. The climate tech sector was 400% more resilient than the other existing technologies in Israel. One in 6 startups established in 2022 falls under the climate tech category. In 2023, there is 13% increase in Israeli company developing various technologies solutions to address climate challenges compared to 2022, an addition of 90 companies only in 2023. Taking into account the small market, Israel has the main global market for Israeli climate technologies, include the United States and Canada in North America, and Germany, Spain, and Italy in Europe. 14% of every dollar invested in Israel is invested into climate-related ventures, and 50% of the investments in climate are coming from abroad. This remarkable status can be attributed to several key factors. Israel was always under war, facing climate challenges, diverse communities, small market, and limited financial resources. However, Israel leads in R&D spending both per capita and as a percentage of GDP. In recent years, we have witnessed an increasing number of Israeli serial entrepreneurs with proven track record entering the climate industry with the mindset of problem solving. These individuals bring their wealth of experience and technologies from other industries into this sector. Despite our relatively small size, we feature diverse climate and agricultural landscape from desert, sea to valleys and mountains. This diversity translates into multitude of agriculture and climate types of developments and POC's abilities in the country. Israel is known for its early entry to new sectors, and we consider climate tech as a new sector. Our unique challenge has fostered an environment for pioneers, research, and development. To illustrate our commitment to innovation, I will introduce 4 entrepreneurs who are at the far front of addressing climate change challenges with their groundbreaking companies. Okay, so the first one I want to invite is Sigalit Mutzafi, the CEO of Red Green. Sigalit. Red-green is transforming the real estate market, making it suitable for health and climate requirements while driving efficiency and increasing asset value. Sigalit is a CEO and a co-founder, and she will soon present her company. I want to invite Yonadav Buber, the CEO of Barak. Barak is a company which deals in large-scale, long-duration energy storage by compressing air underwater. The third one, Gideon Lapidoth from Enzymit. Enzymit is developing a technology to transform CO2. I'm so used to say CO2 because Stein is 2. And any other feedstock to SAF, e-fuel, biofuel, and other valuable products. And last but not least, Itay Heimann, the CEO of Nova Forest. Itay is an entrepreneur in renewable energy arena, and he is the head of first of its kind reforestation pilot project taking place in Jisr al-Azarqa. It's a village, Arab village in Israel, a deprived small city in Israel. Itay is here to present Nova Forest and talk about also education in climate tech. Okay.
So, construction is the most polluting industry in the world. Now, construction phase takes about 2, maximum 3 years, but then buildings are product for the long term. Just for example, look at this picture. This building is here since Bismarck and the Turks hanged out in the same room. So over 150 years, right? So operation and maintenance of buildings are crucial. Now, since we know that about 50 to 60% of buildings' energy are consumed by the air systems, if we can save on that, we can save a lot on cities' emissions. We can save a lot of energy. Just last week, we saved for one of our customers that spent about 600,000 euro extra last year on energy because they didn't know they had a huge black spot on their heating. So it's very easy for us to understand once we're monitoring the building, we're analyzing all the information, we're alerting on those blind spots, enabling them to really recover from those issues. So we're optimizing the air quality, the health, the efficiency, the productivity of the people, and then also reducing the costs of the operation of those buildings. Now, you can see we have very nice logos in this slide. These are our customers. And the reason we got to sell to those customers, us, a very small team with limited resources, is because we're bringing them a huge value. And that value is by reducing the costs. Let's see.
Are you partners as real estate owners or as
yes.
companies? Yeah.
Corporate and commercial real estate owners, landlords, facility management companies, those are our customers.
Okay.
And the fact is that we're helping them to reduce their operational costs and then to increase their revenues, their rent rate, and the net profit of their assets eventually.
How long does it take you to convince them to sign a contract?
So the sales cycle is between a month to 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you looking for? Are you raising money now?
Yes, we are raising money and we're also raising customers. So if you're
potential real estate
potential
owner,
customers, please come to meet me.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I want to show you that Another slide is here, my contact details. So if you're also curious about your building efficiency and how well your office is really operating, come to meet me at my booth, and please register for a trial and take a look. This is the time to take a picture. I'm happy to meet you later.
Thank you, Sigalit.
Thank you.
So Itay Heimann, the CEO of Nova Forest. Hi.
Hi.
Happy you are here with us. So please tell us a little bit about Nova Forest.
Yeah, of course. Finishing my cognitive science degree, I started my career path in edtech, and I came across a crossroad where I was faced with my ethic code, my inner ethic code, and I saw that what I want to give birth to in the world must align with my core values. And that led me towards being engaged in the energy sector for the past few years. And it also led me to this idea, which we are now fostering. So I want to ask you a little question. How many of you have children? If you can raise your hand real quick. Wow, that's quite a bit. And the most precious and daring thing of us, of the things that we have, of our legacy, is our children. And that's why we focus in Nova Forest on fostering the environments that we are sending our children to. What we do is we set outdoor learning environments which utilize the rooftop space and enable us to take the most advanced trend in the education realm to the schools, project-based learning. So what we do is essentially we take this hydroponic system which serves as a construction base for solar panels, and it gives us two major benefits. So, many different benefits.
So I think from what I understood from the company, it's saving energy, and at the same time it's an educational company. So how do you save energy, and how do you contribute to agriculture and to education at the same time?
Right, amazing. So essentially what we do, we offset schools completely by using solar panels. We match the unique characteristics of the consumption rate within schools with the solution given by solar panels. Solar panels are great, but they're not good for everything. We know solar panel works only when we have the sun. When we don't have the sun, we don't have that. And that's why we matched it with a specific consumer, so it would be the most effective. In addition, one of the major difficulties for policymakers to embed solar panels in a large scale is the unique structure of ownership within the real estate market. So by working with schools, we can work with a major player in the real estate market and relate to a population center. And each population center would have a school, and with our vision would also have a utility scale production of agriculture goods and energy. So why use hydroponics? Integrating hydroponic system enables us to reduce up to 90% of energy consumption in comparison with traditional methods of growing crops. It also is 10 times more efficient in terms of landscape, and it saves 30% of the growing cycle.
So Yonadav, will you work only with schools, or will you use other roofs to create this technology to work with?
So we focus mainly on schools. Added value is within the education. This is what we envision, and we want to help be part of envisioning the societies at large. Just adding one other thing, which is very essential for the use of local agriculture in a large scale, is that I like blueberries very much. I guess you guys like it too. And for me to consume it in Israel, I need to send it all the way from Argentina. Now think about the carbon footprint of sending blueberries all the way from Argentina to Israel. This is what we save, and it's about 30% of the internal production cost. So this is every good startup relies on its team, and we are, me and my two other partners, which are both leading in the fields, and we hope to transform the world. We're looking for, sorry, you want to say something?
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank
so,
you.
if anybody has a school or that can connect Jonathan in Germany to schools, which there, I believe you told me there are 80,000 schools in Germany.
85, yeah,
80, yeah.
approximately.
So that's the next market he is aiming.
And I would say we are looking for a 900,000 euro initial investment for a pilot project. Those who want to have a major part in the energy sector and the agriculture sector, we can reach a cap of 3% of the energy market within 5 years and 50% of the leafy green markets in agriculture within Israel alone, and we are looking to operate globally. Thank you so much.
Okay, Yonadav Buber. So, Borough Mayor, tell us a little bit about the company and how does it relate to climate change?
Sure. So first of all, I want to thank you for having me, and thank you, Zal. You probably don't remember, but we met about 15 years ago. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I was looking toward to become an entrepreneur, and you gave me about 30 minutes in Canaan Partners, and you gave me some pretty good advice, which works out. So imagine what all this is going to happen, huh? So yeah, part of Izhar's advice was to do something that you love and to do something which is relatively simple. So for me, it was always energy. In my background, I was an energy lawyer. Then I became an energy entrepreneur. Did quite well. We had over 800 megawatts of capacity from solar, hydro, gas, and coal. And in 2018, after I sold my part, I tried to look at what's next to come. And I thought that the really interesting thing is storage for energy. Because basically, everybody in the world right now wants to go to 100% renewable energy. And when you're doing that, you're basically taking storage out of the game, because storage is inherently inside a system of fossil fuel. It is the fossil fuel itself. You want more energy, just throw another lump of coal into the furnace. You want less, just reduce it. When we're going into renewables, we lost control. So storage is the way to go. And I was looking at different storage solutions, and I decided to really think about the simplest way. And there are two such really good solutions, but we chose in Barak, we chose the compressed air. Because compressed air, at the end of the day, is a technology from the 1970s. It actually works around the world. It just has one major constraint. You need a really, really, really big tank to hold that pressure. And if it's man-made, then it's super expensive, and then it becomes irrelevant. And second thing, you really wouldn't want to live right next to a really big air tank, right? And so the other way to go about it is some kind of a geological formation, which is a depleted gas reservoir or salt caverns. Both are pretty hard to come by, and they have their own issues. So I have here my fantastic aid, which I borrowed from outside. And when you're looking at a paper cup, you understand that the paper cup right now, even though it's empty, it's actually full of air. And the only reason why it doesn't explode is because the air inside the paper cup is exactly at the same pressure as outside. And when I came to Barak, which was founded before I invested in it, they said, you know what, you're looking at the problem wrong. Basically, you need to compress air in a tank to the same ambient pressure of the outside pressure. And I said, well, that's fantastic, but how the hell do you do that? And they told me, well, just put it under the water. And as a novel diver, I immediately loved that idea because it's so simple. Basically, what we're doing, we're putting rigid structure under the water, equalizing the pressure of the compressed air to the outside atmosphere. It's rigid tanks. The entire system, by the way, works in constant pressure. It doesn't take too much very expensive real estate. We're working around 200 to 500 meters under the water. Any curtailed energy out there, we're simply compressing air. Whenever the energy is needed, we're simply releasing the air back to a turbo expander and putting it inside the grid. The system itself has some fantastic attributes. First of all, we separate the capacity and the power. We can put how much energy the system needs or the client needs. Negligible maintenance. The entire system is built under constant pressure. We have zero maintenance under the water. We have extremely minimal environmental impact, which is just about as close to as zero environmental impact as possible. Minimal real estate and unlimited cycle. All this leads to, by far, the lowest cost today of such a storage system. So that's it for me.
Thank you. So, are you raising money, or what's the situation?
Yes. Basically, we're doing this kind of round where we're inviting strategic players to join us. We already have certain commitments from some energy companies and from future clients. We're also doing a first-of-a-kind project right now in Cyprus, alongside with the Cambridge University and with the Cyprus Institute, and with another local partner called Petrolina, which is the largest energy group there. So yeah, whoever wants to join, please.
Okay, thank you, Yonadav. So last but not least, Gideon Lapidoth. So Gideon is a PhD from the prestigious Heimann Institute. And he wrote lots of papers, and his expertise actually designing the protein from CO2 and other things that will make the world much more cleaner. So Gideon, please tell us more about your company.
I'd be happy to. So first of all, I'm very excited to be here, as you can probably see. So yeah, my background is in a field called computational protein design, relatively new. I'm sure you'll hear more about it over the coming years. It's probably one of the most exciting emerging technologies coming out now out of academia. And using that academic background, I started Enzymet. So Enzymet is a synthetic biology company looking to revolutionize bioproduction. So the problem we're trying to solve is also the solution. Humanity produces about 40 gigatons of CO2 every year. That's enough carbon above air to supply every man, woman, and child on the planet with enough food, clothing, and energy, basically for perpetuity. The only challenge is how do you convert that carbon in the air into useful material? Now, the existing systems that we have, namely natural systems like vegetations, are simply not efficient. Now, bioproduction typically today refers to fermentation, so using live cells to convert input material into output material. The challenge there, even though it's green and sustainable, is cost. It doesn't compete with existing manufacturing technologies. And this is exactly what Enzymet is building. So Enzymet is building what's called a cell-free bioproduction platform. And it essentially almost works like magic. We can take any feedstock and convert it into almost any conceivable product. And when I say feedstock, we literally mean any carbon source that we can put our hands on, from sugar, vegetable oil, biomass, CO2, and methane. So I brought some samples of products that we've made already at Enzymet and are currently looking to commercialize. So for example, I have here hyaluronic acid, which is a polysaccharide used in cosmetics, in face creams, and in fillers. So hyaluronic acid has been historically produced from rooster combs, extracted from animals. Now it's produced in fermentation. It's a very expensive process. This was produced by converting starch, so very, very simple sugars. Similarly, we just developed a novel process for making non-dairy lactose. So lactose is sugar milk. Most of you might not be aware, but this is used extensively in infant nutrition and in pharmaceuticals. So this is the first ever lactose produced from non-animal sources. Again, a process converting starch into lactose.
This is like mother milk?
Exactly. Yeah. So this is mother's milk, or infant nutrition in general, is a huge market. There is a challenge by all infant nutrition companies to essentially create bioidentical formulas to breast milk, and we can absolutely do that. Biology is biology, we just do it differently. And lastly, this is our new production pipeline. So this is omega-3 fatty acid produced from bioethanol. And this is part of a longer trajectory for us to eventually go into biofuels. So again, you're just converting one molecule into another molecule, and the driver here is cost. And we have shown we can make these products at a price that is beating everybody in the market. So as part of our long-term strategy, we're starting with more high-value molecules, so obviously hyaluronic acid, omega-3 fatty acids, lactose being a little bit of an outlier there, but you can ask me about it later. But eventually we do want to go into commodities being fuels, polymers, even starch. So the vision for Enzymit is to have one of these bioreactors anywhere on the planet able to convert whatever feedstock you'll have on hand, whether it be biomass, and eventually, like I said, CO2. We're currently working on a process of converting CO2 into carbohydrates, and you can produce your desired output on the spot. It's modular, it's simpler, and it's cheap.
And what about regulations?
So that's an excellent question. So we are obviously working with regulatory experts. In food and cosmetics, you have two regulatory thresholds you have to go through. Number one is the product itself, which is pretty straightforward because our product is identical. When we do, for example, hyaluronic acid, we're also working on novel molecules with better functionality. So there is already an in-place regulatory process. And there is a regulatory process for the process itself. So you want to make sure that the enzymes, so this is the technology that we've developed, these biomachines that actually do the transformation don't end up in the final product.
Okay, that's very interesting, and you have to hurry up because he's almost closing his round, so please do. Thank you all very, very much. It was very interesting.